All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to another episode of the Gafford and Brown Show. I'm Lamar Gafford,
I'm Robert Brown.
and we got ourselves a very good show for us today. We're going to finish up our NFL preview with the AFC West and the NFC East. Pick a few games as well. Talk a little bit about the Week One that's coming up in the NFL, and also this past week for college football, and a few other things as well that's going on in the sports world. Diving right on in it right here, I guess we will go ahead and start talking about the AFC West. And pretty much this is the division here where your favorite team is in there, Denver Broncos. They won the division last year, pretty much lapped everybody, won it by 6 games over the San Diego Chargers. But there's still a little bit of competition here trying to see who's going to get ready to be that number 2 team. We'll start off with the Denver Broncos right here, and the question is pretty much they're going to win the division, I feel like. But Super Bowl or bust for them.
It's definitely Super Bowl or bust, considering you have a surefire first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback starting, and the season he had last year. So it's definitely Super Bowl or bust. And Peyton Manning doesn't really deal well with that much pressure, so we're going to see how he combats that, because everybody knows that the Denver Broncos have to at least reach the Super Bowl for this season to be considered, a success. It'll be considered a failure if they lose still, but at least a success if they reach the Super Bowl. Especially after last year's heartbreaking loss to Baltimore, and he definitely has to guide them back to the Super Bowl. But it's going to be interesting because they're dealing with so many injuries right now. Then you have the Von Miller suspension. It's some difficulty right now, when you think about how they're going to fare earlier in their schedule, and you also look at the rest of the division, and you see San Diego has a new coach, Kansas City has a new coach and a new quarterback, and the Oakland Raiders are, rebuilding. They have a new quarterback in Terrell Pryor. So there's a lot of newness in the division. So we're going to see how that translates on the field outside of the preseason and front office. We're going to see how that translates on the field. But yeah, it's definitely Super Bowl or bust for Denver this season, especially when you add Wes Welker, Tom Brady's favorite target. You draft well. You have several running backs. You have 2 receivers that, beforehand, a lot of people thought they were, just average guys. They were potential Pro Bowlers last year. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out this season. It's going to be interesting to see how Peyton Manning deals with, people knowing his capabilities. Now, last year was a bit of a surprise to see him come back and be that good so fast. So now, teams, they have film. They know his routine. The new Peyton Manning, if you want to call it that. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that and how he continues to handle getting hit.
Right.
Last year, wherever he would get sacked or even it looked like he would get touched. People panic a bit. So we're going to see how he continues to take those hits and see how that affects his surgically repaired neck. So we'll see. I'm thinking he'll be fine though.
And I know you can't wait for the season to begin with this team because they are pretty much the favorites in the AFC, and I agree with you on that one too, because if you look at all the teams here that we have said that possibly could make it to the playoffs, I gotta think that the Broncos are pretty much the favorites. I mean, look at Houston. I mean, I don't think they're ready to overtake the Broncos in this point. Look at the Patriots. I think they're on their last leg. I think the Broncos have a better team. The Bengals, they're young. The Colts, they're young. All the other teams that's probably fighting for that 6th seed, I don't think they have enough to go out there for that. So right now, I mean, I have to agree with you. This is pretty much going to be a Super Bowl or bust season for the Broncos. And I think the one thing is going to be how do they do with the Von Miller suspension. He's going to, the defense is going to be a little bit probably taken aback for that. But I think they'll be okay, and it's not going to be too much of a bump on the road here. You got Peyton, uh, you got Wes Welker now. You know, you got some good running backs as well, just to take some pressure off of him. So I think that the Broncos are going to win this division. Will I say 6 games though? I don't know about 6 games, but I think it'd probably be a pretty handed amount, maybe like 3 or 4 games or something like that.
Right. I'm going to win the division as well. Um, I'm thinking 11-5 or 12-4 type of season. I'm anxious to see how the rest of the division is going to look. Considering we just mentioned earlier how they have some redecorating going on. So we're going to see how that works out for certain teams. But I'm anxious to see how the season goes.
Right. And speaking of one of those teams that is actually going through the redecorating here, is the Seattle, well, not the Seattle Seahawks, the San Diego Chargers. New coach. They don't have North Turner anymore. Right now, it's pretty much but you still have Phillip Rivers, who has kind of digressed a little bit regressed over the past couple of years. Mike McCoy is the new coach there. They're still trying to find out what do they have in Ryan Matthews. Is he going to stay healthy to be back out there on the field? I guess the question for the Chargers is, can Phillip Rivers bounce back?
Can Phillip Rivers bounce back? I think he can. Phillip Rivers, I've heard people call him the Tony Romo of the AFC. He's pretty good, but the thing about that is it's almost an insult because he's won playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the playoffs. He's won. He was 1 game away from a Super Bowl. What was that? He had a torn ACL once and led his team past the Colts. In the playoffs. So he's a solid quarterback. It's just that he's a bit inconsistent. During the regular season, and he can have a game where he'll light you up 4 touchdowns, 300 plus passing yards, and then the next game 4 turnovers and maybe 100 yards. So. I mean, we know his capabilities and we know what he's capable of. So we're going to see how he works under this new coach and new regime there in San Diego. I'm thinking he does well because he's a guy that he has a huge ego. He has a huge ego. He doesn't like losing, and I think he's ready to show people that he's that guy. He's an elite quarterback.
Right.
And I think he's ready to do that. So we'll see how it goes.
And yeah, remember I think there was a Chargers Broncos game some years ago, like 2007, 2008, where he got into pretty much a shouting match with Jay Cutler. Yeah. That shows me a lot right here about this guy. That he's not afraid to lose or anything else like that. And I think I remember the AFC Championship game in 2007 where I think it was his knee or something.
Yeah, he had a torn meniscus, a torn ACL, I think.
Right.
Yes, a list of injuries, but he played the game.
And still played through it. And that's just pretty much the heart of the warrior that he has. Just that, I guess, I don't know, I can't pinpoint really when did he start regressing a little bit. I think it was 2010.
Last year, the year before, so it kind of started.
Right, but we'll see what's going to happen with him with a new change around him. Pretty much the GM, pretty much the owner, basically just went ahead and said, well, I mean, I guess new change coaching staff that might breathe some new life into him and stuff because he's not that bad of a quarterback.
No,
he's not.
He's arguably a top 10, top 15 quarterback.
Right. So, hopefully, maybe they can get the offense going and everything, too. I mean, because he still has some pretty good running backs and receivers as well. And you still got Antonio Gates out there. Your defense, slowly probably getting, but surely here. You got Dwight Freeney. We're going to see if he still has something to tank. You also got Manti Te'o, so that's another thing, too. So we will see about that. Actually, we just got a comment here on Twitter. Uh, from that one guy, Jeff. He says, "LOL, easy selling for the Broncos about this division. Easy selling."
So I mean, I gotta say though, I don't think we should overlook the Kansas City Chiefs though, because considering that they have been in a bit of a slump since the last 2 years,
Mhm.
they've been fairly competitive. Last year they had some pretty impressive wins. The year before last, they were the only team to beat the Green Bay Packers late in the season and start their losing streak. And then now they have a coach who knows offense, Andy Reid. They have a quarterback who can manage games and give you those drives you need. So we should see, and they have a running game, So it's interesting. Kansas City is to me to what they're going to do because I mean this could be a season where they make the playoffs, the wild card. Or it could be a season where they're back in the draft, top 10 team. So who knows? But I think they're going to be better than last year.
Oh yeah, I mean anything at this point right now, it's got to be better than that 2-14 season that they endured last year. But like you said, this is another team in this division that has a new regime. But difference is you got another quarterback here, like as you touched on. Alex Smith, pretty good quarterback. I mean, serviceable when he was with the 49ers. Serviceable when he was with the 49ers, and now he goes to Kansas City, where you also got Andy Reid, who kind of seems to be a little bit of a quarterback guru in a way.
Right.
And, I think, of course, they're going to win more than 2, and of course, they're going to win more than 6. I have a feeling they're going to challenge within that 500 range, or maybe even 9 wins, or they could sneak into the playoffs, as a lot of people are saying. Because you look at this team on paper, they have a young squad that is hungry and that's ready to get into the playoffs.
Right. They have Jamal Charles. They have a defense that's overlooked. They have the tools.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we have to see them, during the actual season, and we have to see how Alex Smith works with a quarterback coach like Andy Reid.
Right. I think the one thing is that's going to be familiar with him is Andy Reid runs a West Coast offense, right?
Right.
Pretty much. So Alex Smith has learned has known a little bit about the West Coast offense. So I think he's pretty familiar with it, and that's going to help him out. Because I saw him one game, I think it was against the Saints this preseason, and I was just impressed with how he was moving the ball down the field. Granted, it's preseason, granted it's the Saints defense, but I was impressed by it nevertheless. So I mean, he's much better than what they had at quarterback over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
he's much better.
Castle, yeah.
So. And I hate to say it about Matt Castle, but he had that one good year and pretty much went down.
Yeah, you're right though.
And which leads me to the next team here that we got to talk about here, the Oakland Raiders. 4-12 has not been to the playoffs since
10 years
season. Can they get some lightning under the bottle with Terrell Pryor?
It's so many question marks on this team as always. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if Terrell Pryor is going to work out. We don't know if Matt Flynn is going to get his job back. We don't know if Darren McFadden is going to stay healthy. We don't know if the coach will make it through this season. We don't know. It's just tricky with the Raiders. It's always been tricky with them. They've had some glimmers of where they look competitive. You thought maybe they'll be able to come back and compete, be respectable, but then not so much. I just don't know how to peg them right now. I mean, it's easy to say they're going to suck this year, but at the same time, I mean, you never know, and it's just weird. And I just think Terrell Pryor gives them, with the zone read being so popular, he gives them a chance, to be, kind of like, I don't want to say like everybody else, but it gives them a chance to open up the playbook a little bit. I'm anxious to see Matt Flynn, though. I want to see Matt, is he really that bad? Like, I mean, this is the second team where he's lost the job before the season starts.
And yeah, that it's just so crazy about that, by the way, too, because I mean, he had one big game against the Detroit Lions.
Towards the end of the season.
Yes, towards the end of the season, one big game against the Detroit Lions, gets this huge contract from Seattle, gets beat out by Russell Wilson.
The rookie.
Now, Seahawks trade him to the Raiders. Raiders, I think they gave up a draft pick or something in return, at least a draft pick. And it's just in order to possibly give him the job right there. And it looks like he's getting beat out by Terrell Pryor, who they just got at the supplemental draft not too long ago as well. Man, it's just gonna be tough for the Raiders here. Is Matt? I mean, I don't think Matt Flynn is content with just sitting on the bench here and earning his money and counting his dollars here. He wants to play. I got.
It looks bad on his part. I mean, this might be his last gig if he keeps losing his job to these guys during the preseason.
Right.
Because it keeps happening.
Right. Exactly. And I can't picture that there's anybody that would probably give him another chance if it doesn't work out, if he doesn't try to win this job back. Now, about Terrell Pryor, how impressed are you in him getting this job?
I don't know, because he hasn't looked too great during the preseason games. I think he was given the job more so he's younger, and I think this is his second year with them?
Third
year with them. Probably his third year with them, so I guess they want to see what he has to offer. And with the zone read being so popular, maybe they think that he'll be able to give them a chance to compete and be different, fit the mold, maybe more exciting. I don't know. It's crazy, but I really think that he's going to have to prove himself by week one, really, because I mean, like you said, this is his third season in Oakland, and we've yet to really see him, show up. This is really his first opportunity as a starter, really. Yeah. So we're going to see if he's worth it. So it's really an easy way for the Raiders to see what they have in both quarterbacks,
right?
And maybe plan for the draft.
It just really seems like it's a mess right here, and I mean, and it's crazy because the Raiders are one of the more historic franchises in the NFL, and I just really hate to see them, be in this dry spell because, I know you probably don't because, Broncos fan. Right. But, I mean, it's just, to me, it's just so tough to see them in this dry spell that, you kind of, I just want to see them at least do pretty well. I mean,
it's just poor management by them. I mean, we see it every season from now. Just the picks. The Rob Gallery pick. The Jamarcus Russell pick. The huge money they gave Namdi, and then letting him go. It's just constant. The jury's still out on McFadden, but
right,
we still haven't seen him really play to his full potential due to the constant injuries. So
right,
it's crazy. Hayward Bay, I can't really say he's a bust because he's never really had a quarterback to be consistent with and build a relationship with. So it's just crazy. The constant carousel of coaches. It's just a mess.
Right. Well, I do know one thing that has been at least constant over the past 10 years with them. Sebastian Janikowski.
Yeah, he's really the MVP. He's really the most valuable player. He's the guy that's probably making the most money on the team. So, he's definitely their old faithful. And you kind of feel bad for him because this is a guy who's been with them for a long time. And he's, yet to get a Super Bowl ring and yet to have a winning season since their 2003 season.
Right. So, man, it's pretty tough right now for them. So, order of finish in this division.
I'm going to say Denver goes 12-4. The Kansas City Chiefs 9-7. The San Diego Chargers 8-8, and the Oakland Raiders 6-10.
I got Denver 12-4, maybe 13-3. San Diego 9-7. Not 9-7 for San Diego. Kansas City 9-7. San Diego 7-9. Oakland 3-13.
Oh.
I have a feeling that they probably going to be looking for a quarterback sometime soon in the draft. Be along with Jacksonville. And if that's so, well, it probably tells you right then and there Flynn or Pryor too well. So basically, saving the best one for last year, the NFC East.
Obviously you're right by primetime standards. You guys get all the games. You get all the Sunday night games. The NFC East is pretty much the darlings of Sunday night.
And it seems like that once again too, because hey, I mean, you got two intra-divisional games here. I mean, Cowboys and Giants on Sunday night, and then you also got the Redskins and Eagles on Monday night. Last season, the Skins won the division after coming back from pretty much the dead at 3-6, won 7 straight games, won the division. The Giants finished second place, 9-7. Cowboys were 8-8, and last place were the Philadelphia Eagles. Question number 1 is going to go with the Redskins. How healthy are we going to see RG3 coming back? Because we know he's going to start at the first game.
That's a good question, and I'm also interested in how they're going to protect him. Like last year, we saw how that option helped him, get some really big plays in, and we also got to see, him just develop into a superstar. Now, one thing he does have to protect him is Alfred Morris.
Mm-hmm.
A great running back who had a stellar season. Most people say he's most of the reason why RG3 had so much success. So we're going to see how that works out. And I don't know. I'm pretty interested in seeing how it works out myself because I got a feeling he's going to be playing with that knee brace for a long time. So we're going to see how that alters his game. We also want to see how teams are going to attack him. Are they going to, I know the NFL is taking a more serious look at players going for knees. So, is he going to be safer because of that focus, or is he going to still be a target because teams know that he's not necessarily 100%? So it's going to be interesting seeing that dynamic. And I'm also interested to see how his receivers continue to develop as well. It's going to be interesting with them. I definitely want to see how their defensive unit goes. They had so many injuries on defense last year with a rag pull and just guys going left and right. So I want to see how they look this season as well. But they definitely have to capitalize on RG3 right now when they still have him. The Redskins invested a lot in this guy. He's supposedly their future. So we're going to see just how, bold they are in, protecting that asset. Because you got Kirk Cousins on the bench who's not necessarily a slouch.
Oh, no.
So we're going to see how that goes now. When you think back at it, you got to look at Shanahan and say, man, he was pretty smart at drafting Cousins in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Because knowing RG3 had a history of knee trouble at Baylor. So it was pretty smart on his part. We're going to see how that dynamic works in the season as well. Is Cousins is going to be, the guy waiting in the wings, even if RG3 does get hurt, just as a precaution. So we'll see.
Once again, I mean, Shanahan continues to work his magic, and it seems like, and ever since the days when he was with the Broncos, it seems like that he finds these guys later round draft picks, and they turn out to be something very good. I mean, Terrell Davis, all those other different players, and Kirk Cousins, he looks smart with that idea too. And I tell you, another person he looked very smart with last season, Alfred Morris, coming out of Florida Atlantic. Not too many people did not expect him to do as good as he did, but Alfred Morris did a pretty good job last season. He got about over 1,000 yards, darn near 1,000 yards, if so. So right now, for at least the Redskins here, we're gonna see what RG3 is going to do after that first hit. I think the one thing that he needs to do is get hit once. Even though he has dealt with the ACL injury before, we have not seen this guy get out there on the field this preseason. So we'll see what's going to happen. How does he react with the first hit? How does he don't react with the first hit? As you said, too, his receivers, they kind of got to get better. They kind of got to get situated right here because Santana Moss, Pierre Garçon, Brandon Banks, Desmond Briscoe, they don't really have a clear number 3. And that's going to be another thing, too. And then you also lose one of your better tight ends, Fred Davis, but you got Chris Cooley back. So that's another thing. And defensively, here and there, got some pretty good players also. Brandon Merriweather's hurt, I see, but you still got yourself a decent defensive line, pretty good defensive line. I think the verdict is going to be really out on them about that. So I think, but they will still continue to make this division a tough one, as everybody's really gonna be about. But I just think this, as far as RG3 goes, this is pretty much how far the Redskins are gonna go.
Yeah.
So we'll see what's gonna happen with that. Next up on the list, the New York Giants. Here.
Man, now this is the thing with the Giants. One year they're bad, one year they're good, one year they're bad, one year they're good. And usually when they're good, they're really good. Mm-hmm. They're like Super Bowl winning good.
Right.
So is this one of the seasons where they go back to being really good, or just an average team?
Ooh, man, this is a tough one, really, because this team was kind of average last season, but yet trying to get back and situated here. Eli Manning, once again, we know how he can be. He can be a little bit shaky sometimes, but once you get to the fourth quarter, he seems to be this different quarterback that everybody just doesn't expect him to be. In other words, the reverse Romo. But looking at the whole team here, one big problem is they don't have they don't have Andre Brown, who's going to be hurt with his leg injury here, but you still got Victor Cruz and you paid him big time money. You also got Hakeem Nicks. I think the one thing with the Giants is they're going to need some help on running back very bad, because I don't know if David Wilson is going to be the guy that's going to carry that workload for them. So if they can get themselves a running back or somebody can step up, I think that'd be a good idea right there for them. But as far as the rest of the season, as far as the rest of the positions, they look all right here. And they got themselves a pretty good defense as well, too. Still got themselves a pretty good defense, even though you lose Osa Umenora.
Right.
So, about this team, I just think nothing really stands out in me saying that they're going to be better than probably above 10 wins. But as you said about the Giants, they just seem to do it sometimes just for the heck of it. And next thing you know, they surprise you when they least expect it. So I guess we will see about them. But for right now, I think this is going to be a team that's going to finish within 8 to 10 wins. I think they're going to be on the right side of 500 at least. I'll give them that.
I agree as well.
So I will say that for them. Third place team last season. I'm getting to my wheelhouse right here. Dallas Cowboys.
Playoffs or bust.
Man, putting me on the spot right here on this one. It really does look like it's a playoff or bust type season for them. And with Tony, especially with Tony Romo. Now you got the big money here. Now, and with the giggling here about it, that does he deserve it or does he not deserve it? I think that he did deserve it, but right now, I really think that they have to get to the playoffs now to at least show that. Over the past 16 years, the Dallas Cowboys have played 256 games. You want to know their record over those past 256 games? 128 and 128. Mediocre at its finest. And they're the only team that has just had that perfect 500 record right smack dab in the middle. And, it's just been so much of, it's just been, a lot of agony, especially over the past few years here, seeing that they do well in November, and yet they tail off in December.
Right.
And, but I think that this could be a little bit of a better year, maybe. At least Jason Garrett does not have to worry about the offensive play calling. That's going to be with Bill Callahan. And I still think that maybe, and just maybe, Monty Kiffin is probably a little bit of a better professional defensive coordinator than he was in college. Here. Now, what's your insight about the Cowboys?
You guys always burn me, man. Always. I always pick you guys to come through and just be better than last year, and just continue to come on. But God, I don't know. So we'll see how this year goes. I'm expecting big things for Dez Bryant. I'm expecting a huge season from him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting him to be a Pro Bowler, just a healthier season, and just be more of an impact guy, leadership guy. Other than that, it's business as usual. Hopefully, you guys running backs can hold up and see how this defense works, with Monty Kiffin. I'm really anxious to see you guys do well, and it should be a season in which you guys win the division. Just because last year was so heartbreaking, you think that would, motivate these guys to really come out.
Right, and like I say, it's going to be really interesting here to see what's going to happen here. I think that the defense has had its little pretty decent showings here in the preseason, and it's had its bad showings a bit in the preseason too. I think that one idea to probably take some of the pressure off Tony Romo is build a consistent running game. That's what they've been trying to do. And DeMarco Murray's looked pretty good in the preseason, but I've also been looking at some of the backups, Philip Tanner and Lance Dunbar and Joseph Randle. They've really played pretty well in the preseason. So if any of those guys can step up and give themselves at least a consistent run game, it gives Tony Romo a little bit more time here. And because he has the talent at receiver. Dez Bryant, good. Miles Austin, we've seen that he can still be pretty good at times. And, the defense here, they can be very good at times too, because Sean Lee is a very good player. Sean Lee's a pretty good player as well. And, you got the defensive backs, of course, of Morris Claiborne from here. And, those guys are still learning, and those guys are pretty good.
Right.
And DeMarcus Ware is still on. DeMarcus Ware and Anthony Spencer is still right there too. So, it's going to be an interesting season for the Cowboys. I think that they're going, once again, I got to lump them up with the Giants and Skins here as at the top of that division. I'll pretty much tell you how it's going to go afterwards, but
Now, what about the Philadelphia Eagles?
Wow, this is going to be, the biggest question mark for the season here, because new coach Chip Kelly, we're going to see if his schemes from college, where Oregon basically put up like points galore, we're going to see how that goes in the NFL, where the defense are a little bit faster. I think they can make it, but it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for them. Main question for them is going to be, can Michael Vick actually stay a full season?
Mm.
And he has not really lasted a full season in his career. If there has been one season, there's probably going to be only one season. I think on paper they have the talent, but putting it out there on the field, that's going to be another thing. Vic is good. McCoy's pretty good. McCoy's very good. You still got Deshaun Jackson. But the big question is going to be, who's going to be their number 2 receiver, because Macklin's hurt, and it's just sad that he has to be hurt. Now you got to have, Jason Devine and Riley Cooper have to step up and, be that other guy. Here, now, what's your thoughts about the Eagles?
I don't know. It's weird because I think that they have the potential to be a surprise team, because I think they have the tools to be explosive offensively. Like when they got Chip Kelly, I said, man, they're gonna be just like Oregon. And not saying that they're gonna run the same offense, but they have the weapons to be just as lethal offensively as Oregon was. You have McCoy, you have Bryce Brown, you have Vic, you have Macklin, who's hurt right now. You have Deshaun Jackson. You have the pieces. Riley Cooper, just the guys there to really, spread the plate spread off as well. But there's also the fact that Michael Vick's the starter. He usually gets injured. He's mistake prone. Then you have Nick Foles, a guy who put up some decent numbers last year, but he's still inexperienced. So it's a big question mark.
Right. And yeah, it really is going to be that big old question mark right there too. And I really hate to say it, but it seems like if it doesn't work out, I mean, how soon, and the Philadelphia fans are going to be very loud about this, but how soon do you think they're going to turn to Nick Foles? Or even Matt Barkley, maybe. Well, I don't think Barkley's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think Barkley's going to get a nod anytime soon, because Foles was the guy they gave a lot of, exposure to and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be interesting. I'm anxious to see how it works out, because I like Vic and I want him to concede, but at the same time, they kind of have, they restructured his contract, so they're like, hey,
take the pay cut.
Take the pay cut, or you gotta go. So he takes the pay cut, so we'll see.
Right. Defensively, nothing really stands out outside of probably maybe a few people like the Miko Ryans. I think this was a guy that won Defensive Rookie of the Year once before. But defensive backs, you don't have the same players as you had over the past couple of years, and that's gonna really hurt them too, because as explosive as be probably on offense, defensively they're probably gonna give up just about the same amount of explosive plays. And if that's gonna be the case, I can pretty much see them having a long season in Philadelphia where there's gonna be a lot of boos.
Yeah, that's true too.
So, prediction to finish in this division.
Oh, you guys. The Dallas Cowboys, 11-5. Is that too generous? 11-5. Okay, 11-5. Finally, they live up to their potential and they win the division. The New York Giants, 9-7. The Washington Redskins, 8-8. Philadelphia Eagles, 7-9. I think all those picks are gonna suck though.
Because this is a tough division. I said I wasn't gonna jinx my Cowboys. Kind of lied in this case. I think the Cowboys are going to win the division, but I think it's going to be closer than what many people thought. They're going to be 10-6. I think the Skins are also going to be 10-6, but the Cowboys are going to win the tiebreaker to go along with that. I think the Giants are going to be somewhere in that 8-8 range. I don't know what's going to happen with them. And I think the Eagles, I give them a very good, healthy 9, not 9-10, but 6-10. They'll be a little bit better than they were last season, but the jury's still going to be out on them. And you just got to see how that defense is going to be. That's just going to be the main issue right there for me about them. Now, so I guess this ends up the NFL preview here. You know, give us an overview of pretty much how you see is going to be the playoffs in both conferences and who's going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, shit. Damn it, Lamar. Why'd you put me here? I don't know, man. I hate doing this because right now
I know.
It's so crazy.
I know.
It could backfire completely. Okay, who's going to the playoffs with that? In the NFC, this is the hardest season I think ever picking teams to make the playoffs because each division, I think the NFC West potentially could have 3 teams make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think Atlanta's gonna win the South.
Right.
You guys win the East. Green Bay wins the North. Seattle wins the West. 49ers get the wild card, and the Saints get a wild card. The hoopla 49ers advance to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I skipped a lot of stuff. AFC's tricky too because although I think Baltimore's done, there's just something about them that they have that us against the world mentality. I like Denver's chances. I think they're gonna win the AFC West. I think the AFC North is going to go to Cincy. I think the AFC East is going to go to New England, of course. And the South will go to Houston. I think the wild cards will be Miami and the Colts.
I know this is going to be tough for me too, and I really hate putting you in this position as well. And I really hate for putting me in this position too. I guess I'll go with the tough one, the tougher division, the tougher conference right now. 1, Falcons. 2, 49ers. 3, Packers. 4, Cowboys. Wild card teams, Seattle's going to be one of those wild card teams. I think they're going to be 5th, and I think it's going to probably go down to the... You know what? I might give the Skins. I'll probably say the Skins are going to make it to the playoffs, and I think the team that's probably going to make it out of the NFC alive is going to be the 49ers. In the AFC, Denver's going to be number 1. Houston's 2. 3, Patriots. 4, Cincinnati. Indianapolis at 5. 6, I think it's going to be Miami. Denver's going to come out of the AFC. Denver Broncos, San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. And 49ers winning it all. 49ers winning it all. But I got a feeling that these picks are probably going to be shot to hell within these first month of the season, as the NFL is pretty much one of the most parity of the leagues. So we're going to see. We're just going to enjoy ourselves right here. How about that?
Right.
So we're going to get a chance to see, and we hope that these picks do wind up, and maybe we'll get ourselves some surprising teams coming out of the woodwork.
I hope so. I love parity, especially in the NFL.
Oh yeah, and you never know. I mean, Who knows? Maybe a team like the Bills or somebody like that could just come out there and surprise some folks. Or the Browns, maybe they can come out there and surprise some folks or something like that. Or the Rams, of course. So, can't wait to see how the season turns out to be. And that's pretty much it. So, we're going to go ahead and take ourselves a 30-second break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the, I guess, week one. Well, shall we continue the NFL part? I guess since we're here, we're going to continue talking about week one of the football season, give everybody the picks and everything. So we'll be right back. And we are right back with the Gafford and Brown Show. Basically concluded everything that was going on in the NFL preview. If you wanted to get a chance to listen to what we had to say, just at the end of the show, rewind it. You could listen to what we had to say, and also look back at the previous shows as well. If you also want to get on the show too, give us a tweet, Primetime2832 or Uptown Bobby. Call us at 318-572-0078, or you can Skype us at Primetime2832. Get your voice on the show and get your thoughts on the show as well, because once again, fan appreciation and fan interaction is what we really strive for. But right now, I got one question for you, Rob.
What's that?
Are you ready for some football, some real football?
Indeed.
And it seems like we have been waiting for like the longest time, but now everything is now for real, and it all begins this Thursday night. Ravens traveling to Denver, scene of the crime, what happened last season, traveling to Denver against the Broncos here. Starting off with the pick of the game here. I already know who you got, so
yeah, I'm picking Denver.
All right. I think it's gonna be Denver too. Denver's going to basically get themselves a little bit some redemption here against the Ravens. The Ravens, though, they're going to make it a little bit tough, but I think the regime here, without Ray Lewis, is pretty much going to get that, stuff got real moment. Yeah, it's pretty much going to be that, I think, at that case, too. So, some more of the games here that's coming up here. New England Patriots, they're traveling into Buffalo, but of course Buffalo might not have they do have the home field advantage, but yet they are down to their third string quarterback. It's Tool time with Jeff Tool.
don't know. That's tricky right there. What do you think?
Patriots easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be business as usual. I mean, I think EJ Manuel would have gave them a good chance to think about an upset, but now I think that's highly unlikely. But I do like Buffalo's chances of being a surprise team by the time mid-season.
I think so too. I think this game might not have a lot to say about this, but we've seen Buffalo. They really played New England tough over the past couple of years.
Right.
Even say the Patriots easy, don't expect Buffalo to basically take this line down.
Right.
Here, even though they probably won't have C.J. Spiller or E.J. Manuel. The Bengals traveling to Chicago to play against the Bears.
I think I'll go with. I'm gonna go with Chicago.
I think this is going to be the first one of many disagreements that we're going to have here, because I think I got the Bengals in this case. Just something about their defense, and I think they're ready. They're ready to just take this season by storm here. So I think it's going to be the Bengals here with this one. Dolphins traveling to Cleveland to play against the Browns.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. I think it's gonna be a good game though.
Oh yeah, Dolphins, close game. Browns, we're gonna see how well that they've done and how well they do this season. Last season's any indication from them, this is still gonna be a team that's going to be in some games once again. So, Dolphins. Vikings traveling to Detroit to play against the Lions.
I'm going Vikings.
Yeah, I know Clarence is going to be happy if wherever he's at right now. So I think the Vikings going to go ahead and win this game here. Still a lot to be seen here about the Lions' defense, but running combat's all. The Vikings going to basically come out there and win this game. It's probably going to be by about 7 points. Raiders traveling to the Colts.
I'm going with the Colts.
Another one of those easy games. Colts. I don't think there's no explanation said.
Right.
Dirty South rivalry here. Falcons and Saints. Game is in New Orleans.
That might be the game of the day. Man, this is a hard one. I'm gonna go with the Saints. Just because I think Sean Payton and company want to make a huge message. They want to send a message to the team. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the Saints.
Saints 2, home team, home squad, and it's crazy here because with the Falcons that as I've said before that the stat 13-3 season, but the Falcons did split with every single one of their divisional opponents. Actually, every single one of those divisional opponents were 3-3 last season. So if that's not an anomaly, I don't know what is. Falcons basically going to get this season start off with a loss. Darrelle Revis and the Buccaneers, they travel back. They play against the New York Jets. And Geno Smith will get the start.
I'm going with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay easy. And we're going to probably hear a lot of boos from Jets fans.
Yeah, it happens.
Titans traveling up to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers.
I'm going with Pittsburgh.
Another one here that we agreed upon. Yeah, Pittsburgh easy on this one too. I don't know something about the Titans that just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about really. Seahawks, they're actually traveling out to the East Coast and they're playing against the Carolina Panthers.
I'm going with the upset. I'm gonna go with the Panthers.
Wow.
Yep.
And I can see that happening maybe too because the Seahawks, for them, it's going to be they're probably still going to be on Pacific time zone here, and They're probably going to think about it being 10 o'clock. I think the Seahawks are going to go out there and win it, though. I think so. I just think so. Chiefs traveling to Jacksonville to take on Jaguars.
Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs. Not going to be an easy game for the Chiefs. Some of the late games is also going to happen this week. The Cardinals traveling to St. Louis to play against the Rams.
That's a tough one. I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
I think this has the potential to possibly Falcons Saints. But this has the potential to probably be a pretty good game of the week as well. Rams.
Go with the Rams.
I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm going to go with the Rams. Be safe. I'm just going to be safe and just say home team in this one. Here's another one that's probably had game of the week nomination here. Packers traveling to San Francisco to take on the Niners.
I'm going to go with the Niners.
Yeah, Niners in this one too. Gonna see if the Packers defense has improved a little bit, but I think Kaepernick is going to make them run around in circles in this case. So Sunday Night Football, Giants Cowboys in Dallas.
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Dallas just because I think they just have to. They have to finally set a tone and build consistency.
Right. And Lord, man, we cannot have the Giants basically spray paint AT&T Stadium with big blue here. We cannot have that. And the Giants have won every single game in the stadium since it's been open. So can't have that. Cowboys finally win this. Finally breakthrough, I think. Monday Night Football, Eagles and Skins in DC.
Where's that?
Eagles and Skins in Washington.
We'll go with Washington.
Yeah, Washington 2. RG3 coming back. You got to think the Skins are going to be a little bit more excited about that one. We'll see. I think how this is going to go. But Skins going to win this one. And the final game of the week, Texans and Chargers in San Diego.
We'll go with the Texans.
Yeah, I think there's no foregone conclusion on that one. Texans going to win this game. Pretty much spoiled the new coach of the Chargers, Mike McCoy's his coaching debut. So I think that's pretty much going to be it. And I think that we all agreed upon every single game except for the Cardinals and Rams. You had the Cardinals out the Rams. Seahawks and Panthers, you actually went with the upset pick. You went with the Panthers. I got the Seahawks. And Falcons Saints. I think you said Falcons, right?
Right.
Falcons, and I had the Saints. So, and also the Bengals and Bears. You had the Bears, and I have the Bengals. Elsewhere, we got ourselves a pretty good agreement upon picks right here. So, I think that's going to be the issue right there. Shifting the focus now, though, to college football. And we got ourselves the new rankings that came out today in the AP Top 25. Alabama's still number one, of course. But we have ourselves some new... Alabama's still one. But we have ourselves a little bit of a shakeup in the top 5. Oregon moved up to number 2. Ohio State actually dropped down 1. This is the AP Top 25. Clemson, though, they were the biggest movers today in that whole day here. They moved up from 8 to 4, and Stanford did not play this weekend, but yet they're number 5. Agreed upon the rankings here at the top 5.
I can live with it. What about you?
I think so too. I mean, I kind of thought Clemson was going to be 5, but nice to see them actually go up to 4. And Um, Big win for them. They just got to continue to go out there and win that game, and just continue to go out there and win. Um, I don't know if I would have swapped Oregon and Ohio State, even though Oregon did look impressive, but they were playing against an FCS team, while Ohio State kind of struggled a little bit against an FBS team. South Carolina and LSU, I think they're pretty much right back in the race. Your Gators are at 12. Oklahoma State's at 13. My Fighting Irish is at 14. Texas is at 15. OU is at 16 after the 34 to nothing drubbing that they had against ULM. Michigan's at 17. 18 is UCLA, which moved up 3 spots. Northwestern moved up 3 spots, and they're at 19. Washington, which had a big win against Boise State, basically embarrassed them. They're at 20. Wisconsin's at 21. Nebraska's at 22. 23 was Baylor. 24 is TCU. And 25, and to round out the list, is USC here. So I think everybody pretty much agrees upon what's happening here. Teams that dropped in the rankings, Boise State in 19. They still got some votes, but they dropped out. And then Oregon State completely, after losing the FCS team, dropped out completely here. I guess then here's another pretty good question too. Are you, impressed about how the FCS opponents really performed this week?
Am I impressed with the ACC? You say
The FCS.
the FCS? I mean, it was solid. The only game I really didn't. I was really surprised at was the Florida State. What was the soccer team?
McNeese.
I think it was McNeese. The Florida State McNeese game surprised me the most.
Right. And I didn't expect that for that one to be a big time blowout. That one, I mean, 53 to 21 or something like that. 53-21, 53-31, something like one of those. And McNeese got some votes too in their little poll, and then Northwestern got some votes in their little poll too, and once again, it's just, to me here, the talent pool is starting to get. I wouldn't say it's starting. I would still think the talent pool is starting to get. It's still pretty much vast, because the big schools are still going to go out there. They're still going to get the players that they want. Alabama, Alabama, the LSU's of the world, Florida's of the world, and all of them. They're still going to get any player what they want. But it seems like after Appalachian State beat Michigan that year by that field goal, and we've seen it now happen 3 times here. Really, the FCS teams, they kind of don't. It just seems like they're not scared anymore about these squads, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
And you get the chance to see what they can make out of. And right now, we got so many FCS teams here that's making it to Division 1A that proving that they belong. I mean, I think Appalachian State is one of those teams that's going to actually try to be in there next season. So. I'm impressed really about some of the teams here, but week 1 of the season here, take it to the woodshed. K-State got knocked out. A lot of teams got knocked out, and I can't really be mad about that. Slate of games that's going to happen this week, And we're not going to pick every single one of them, but probably the ones that look more intriguing here. Oregon's playing against Virginia in Virginia. San Diego State's playing against Ohio State in Ohio State. Clemson's going to have an easy win against South Carolina State. Stanford against San Jose State in Stanford to open up their season. Here's a big one, though. South Carolina against Georgia in Georgia. Does Georgia
They have to.
redeem
I think Georgia wins. They have to if they want to have any chances of going to the national title game. Because as good as the SEC is, even if they were somehow to pull up winning the SEC, those 2 losses, still too much. So
Oh, yes.
I think they have to win this game. It's a must-win.
Right.
You say you got a must-win season in week 2, but
Right. I mean, it's got to be a lot. It's got to be a lot. I think they go ahead and pull out the win here. It's because if they don't, it's going to be tough for them. And we had a crying Georgia fan a week, I think on the radio show yesterday. And, you know, they don't do it here. You know, I can't say that they're probably not going to get the chance to do it. So Georgia redeems themselves. They bounce back. But I know you won't be. I know you're pretty much going to be happy either way because it's going to, you know, the East teams knocking each other out.
right,
Help you out.
help Florida out. So we'll see how that goes. What about Notre Dame this upcoming week with the Michigan game?
I got Notre Dame in this game actually, of course, but I still think it's going to be a tough one. Still going to be within a possession. So, but Notre Dame goes out here, wins the game under the lights. That's going to be fun. Who you got winning that game?
I'm gonna go with Notre Dame just because right now, I mean, if they want to get back to that national title game, they have to win all their games. And I mean, what better win to put on that win column than over Michigan?
Oh yeah. Another game here. LSU's playing against UAB. Of course, LSU's going to win that game. A&M against Sam Houston State. Louisville against Eastern Kentucky. Easy games. Florida and Miami, which is going to be another big time game, and surprisingly, that is an 11 a.m. game. Go figure about that. But I know you got the Gators, and I think I'm going to go ahead and probably make the pick here, and I think the Gators are probably going to win this game, but Miami is going to make it pretty close.
I can live with that.
Given the rivalry here, so but I think it's going to be the Gators at the end of the day. It's going to be a pretty close game for them. Oklahoma State is actually traveling to Texas San Antonio. Yeah, Oklahoma State wins that game.
I think
Texas traveling to BYU. Texas is going to win that game, but I wouldn't be surprised if BYU pulls off the upset. West Virginia and Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma big. Northwestern against Syracuse. Northwestern. Wisconsin against Tennessee Tech. Nebraska against Southern Miss. Baylor against Buffalo. TCU against Southeast Louisiana. And USC against Washington State. Here, other games that's also going on in the FBS and Division 1A. That's probably going to be a little bit intriguing here. That could be a little bit tough here to really call. And so far, I really don't see too many of them, actually. Outside of the games that we really saw here. But, it doesn't look like here the slate is going to be... I guess once again, with it being a little bit of a... Well, I guess here's one. Auburn against Arkansas State. And I know Auburn's probably going to go out there and win that game, but...
they should.
But you got to think that the Arkansas State fans are going to be a little bit mad. They want to try to stick it to Gus Malzahn for him kind of leaving.
Right. But I definitely see Auburn winning that game.
Right.
Hopefully. That would be pretty heartbreaking, especially the loss that they took last year.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's gonna be it right there too. And Hawaii against Oregon State. I think Oregon State bounces back too. But I guess we just jump into Division One AA, and I guess the big game here that's going to actually happen out here in Natchitoches is going to be against Northwestern State against Sutton, which should be a great game to see.
Yeah, I think Northwestern will pull it off though. Close competition.
Oh yeah, close competition, good food, good tailgating. Sutton's going to bring their atmosphere out there. Of course, you may know that. I think it's going to be a good one here. People are going to get the chance to see the band, but I think Northwestern, they will go out there, pull out a victory, go 2-0, and get ready to play against Cincinnati and UAB and see what happens with them. And then another SWAC school that's coming up here in Louisiana, Grambling against ULM, and I think ULM is going to win that game, but it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with Colton Browning, because he's a little bit banged up and he might not be able to play that game. So, but I think ULM is going to go out there and win this game too. And let's see here. And I think that's pretty much going to be for right now. We'll probably go ahead and take ourselves another 30-second break and try to wrap up the show here about probably what else is happening out there in the sports world today. Looks like the new Los Angeles Lakers, they got themselves a new player. We'll tell you who it is real quick after the break. All right, we're right back with the Gafford and Brown Show. I'm pretty much going to wrap up the show right here in this case. And I guess as we were trying to finish out here talking about the college football, we just actually had another idea here that we really wanted to talk about. And it's pretty much Johnny Manziel. And I think the last time we were on the show, we were awaiting the suspension, and we did not get the suspension until the day after the show, where it turned out he got suspended for half a game against Rice, which surprisingly. But a lot of people now, in looking at how he was doing here, the OVO tattoo and the money dance and everything else like that, and it seems like a lot of people have had a little bit of an issue about what happened during during the contest at the very end of the contest, where it seemed like he got into a jarring match here and told one of the Rice players to look at the scoreboard and got a penalty for it, and then his coach actually, it seemed like they got into a little bit of a words here. The crazy thing has been the mainstream media and what they really had to say about him, and bad mouthing him and saying that he's pretty much a punk and he shouldn't be doing this and everything. And we looked at the game and we said that they're being a little bit too harsh. What do you have to say about that, really?
I'm thoroughly entertained by his antics. I think he's just a guy who knows his status, he knows his potential, and he's having fun. And I've been enjoying it so far. And it's been nothing detrimental necessarily to his team. They got a penalty, but the game was pretty much won anyway. And I think it's fun. I think it's something good for the game.
Because what burns me is, somebody, people saying, well, if he's doing this against Rice, and if he's pointing at the scoreboard and taunting against Rice, then what makes you think that he's going to do it against like a team like Alabama or a team like Florida or a team like LSU and all that? But I would think that he probably would have enough sense, maybe not to do it against those teams because the bigger stakes that's on the mind here. We've seen the guy last season step up to the forefront. You saw the game live up close and personal where they had against Louisiana Tech.
Right.
Entertaining game, very good shootout here. And the guy wasn't acting. The guy did not act like that, and especially with that too. So, I would think that he knows when to do it and when not to do it.
Right.
A game that's pretty much already hung in the balance is Rice. I mean, really, what's one possession in anyway? To be honest with you, too.
Right.
I mean, even though they didn't kill him with him being out there for the first half, I have no problem really. I think this is what makes college football a lot fun. We've been waiting to see a guy that's been like that, that's been just pretty much, be a little bit more of a rebel and all this stuff. It's been a good while since we've had a controversial figure out there in the NCAA. It's been a good while, and he's basically that guy that's filled that void. But hey, as long as they're winning, I can care less what he does. Really, I mean,
right?
Really, I can care less.
Yeah, and I agree, and that's what makes him, such a great talent to watch. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just as long as he keeps winning and keeps his potential, he's going to be talked about. And I mean, the kids just having fun.
Right, exactly. And for all the people that's pretty much saying that he should be having fun, I really hate to have to go to it, but it's pretty much most of these people are old, and the game wasn't supposed to be. The game's not played like this, and back at my day here, we used to toss the ball right back to the referee and basically act like robots. To be honest with you, where's the fun in that? I will say this: I think if we could probably put Manziel back in time, I think he would fit very well with those Miami teams in the '80s, with the fun aspect, of course. So it's just good when you have fun and all that stuff too. And like I said, as long as he's not hurting anybody, hey, troll on, everybody, troll on. So I guess the last bit of the show here is pretty much this. Looking at it here. Looking at some of the other news here, Geno Smith, like we said, he won the Jets job by default because of Mark Sanchez being hurt. So we had the Geno counter at week 6, actually week 1. You think if he performs well, do you think he's still going to keep the job, or you think they're going to, go back to Sanchez?
I think they might go back to Sanchez just because right now he has he's got a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, likewise too. It's pretty much, and it's unfortunate for Sanchez, but he's gonna have to earn. This is gonna be the time for him to see what he's going to do here. Big time news here with the Texans here. Andre Johnson restructures his contract, and Brian Cushing got himself a new deal. I think 5-6 years. Somewhere around that $60 million range, so they lock him up. Thoughts on that?
I think it's a solid deal. What about you?
Same here. You get one of your defensive players here. You lock him up. I just can't wait to see what do they do with J.J. Watt whenever that comes to be that time too. But you got to think he's gonna get a big deal as well too,
right.
Because he's a very important piece for them too. Michael Beasley is in the Suns or no more because of pretty much he got into some trouble about marijuana.
Yeah. Again. The guys are trip. Somebody pick them up. I would be shocked if Miami gave him another chance, but the guys pretty out there.
He really is. And I remember when he was in college, a lot of people were thinking, we had debates between, I think you had it on your Twitter account actually once before too, that we had the debate between Beasley and Derrick Rose. Who would you choose at number one? Derrick Rose has really made that a no-brainer decision. So
Right, exactly.
So, but I think Beasley, he still has some talent, and if he can just at least get clean and everything like that.
He'll have
Right.
a good run, but he won't be the guy that we thought he would be coming out of Kansas State.
Right. New Orleans Saints, they re-signed Robert Meacham.
Not bad. He's a long-term guy. He's been there for a while now.
Rex Ryan criticized for attending his son's game at Clemson on cut day, and I think this is a non-story, really, to be
Right.
honest with you,
Yeah.
too. Because, I mean, hey, it's your son. I mean, I wouldn't have too much of a problem with that. Jared Sullinger pleads not guilty to domestic violence charges,
Yeah, that's the third domestic violence charge I read today.
which another one was the DeAndre Liggins.
Right, in the Xbox.
Keep your hands to yourself. Keep
Yes.
your hands to yourself. Let's see what else is going on here. The Jets signed Brady Quinn, which is also shocking to me. He's still in the league.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So he gets another job, yet Jamarcus Russell can't get another job. I'm just saying. Let's see here. Anything else that's going on here also in the world today? Tony Stewart saying he's been lying in bed and watching nothing but Oprah as he's trying to rehabilitate from his leg injury.
Okay.
I did not think that he would be listening to Oprah. But to each his own. And somebody on CBS Sports actually says the Eagles will surprise the Redskins and the rest of the NFL.
Yeah, I think they can be a surprise to you.
It's possible. It's really possible. I don't see it happening, but anything can happen in that. Anything can happen in the NFC East. Anything can happen. So we will see about that. And the Cowboys and Brian Waters, they agreed to contract terms. And let's see. And also, we got a little bit of an agreement about the concussion lawsuit here, where $765 million, pretty much of an agreement. The agreement actually doesn't get them to release a lot of the concussion details and all that stuff. Good deal, bad deal, or would you have liked to see the NFLPA hold out for a little bit more?
I'm glad they sued, but it's gonna jump off now. I mean, people are gonna come out the woodwork now.
Oh yeah, we really can't wait, and I think the effect here too is like now people know what the possible ideas here about football here, what the possible side effects that could happen. I don't think it's going to deter people from the game, to be honest with you, but there might be some parents that might not want to see their kids be like that. But if their kids still probably wants to play football, you're still going to have some parents that are probably going to be like, well, okay, just as long as you be safe out there. So we will see that, and hopefully that goes ahead and goes about. And I think that's pretty much going to be it here. So when's going to be our next show, Rob?
We'll probably sometime next week, early next week, probably.
And we'll get with you as always on the date and everything. We hope to have something very well planned and pretty much wrap up week 1 of the NFL season, and then week 2 of the college football season, which I think this is going to be a very good one as well. Elsewise here, once again, just continue to thank everybody that's listening right here. Continue to listen to us. Once again, continue to get some people out there, and trying to get some fans to go out. Just get some fans and everything. And also about the fantasy draft too. Like to shout out everybody that got a chance to participate.
How many live participants do we have?
We got 16.
How many participate in the draft live?
I want to say somewhere between maybe 10 to 12, maybe 13.
Not bad.
So I really can't wait for this season to go out with these guys. Just basically go out here. We basically have 8 different teams in divisions: Gafford division, Brown division. Just want to say here to you, Rob, week 5.
I've got some work to do. So
Week 5, yeah, I got some too. So I picked some. I made some very bad picks in this case because I picked a quarterback. I picked a kicker that is not on the team, and I picked a running back that's also not on the team right now. So yeah, you can go figure about that one too. So I guess this is pretty much going to end out the show right here. Any parting words?
Nothing really, guys. Just enjoy the season, enjoy the games, be safe, don't drink and drive, and don't have more than 3 teams.
Yeah, right. I mean, hey, 2's the limit, right?
Yeah. 2's the limit.
2's the limit. As long as they're probably not in the same division,
right.
And thankfully at least in the same.
I know someone that's a Cowboys fan and a Saints fan.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Especially here. I don't know how that works. They're different here?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how that works. I really don't know how that works. I mean, you'd have the Saints to probably cheer for as like your secondary team, but you have to choose some way or another. But I think that's going to be a different topic for a different day when that time comes. So, pretty much, I'm Lamar Gafford.
I'm Robert Brown.
And this is pretty much going to end up the show. And once again, until next time, see you later.